Well, hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It's August 10th, 2020, and we're back with you for a Q&A with the president of Lee University. And now that president is Dr. Mark Walker. We're so thrilled you're here. Dr. Walker, how are you doing today? How's the first week been?
Everything's still standing.
Yes,
I'm
right.
still standing, so I think we're doing all right. Good to see you, Phil, and good to see everybody as well. Here we are, 2 days from move-in? I think our first move-in
Yes,
is
sir.
starting Wednesday of
That's
this
right.
week, and we're just, 9 days from the first day of class for the fall semester. We're excited. We are looking forward to students being back on this campus. That's what Lee was made for. We were built for students. And so we're excited about the possibility and the opportunity we have coming up in the next couple of days.
Yes, sir. And while we have had such an unusual past 6 months, we are looking forward to, even though it's going to be different, getting the semester started. So thank you, Dr. Walker, and thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. We're going to jump in, as been our tradition, with some questions for President Walker and get some answers that you have sent to us. So we've gathered these questions from email, we've gathered them from Instagram, and all sorts of avenues. So Dr. Walker, the first thing we want to talk about is the opening of the semester. New students are coming, and the fall semester, new student orientation, registration, all that's right around the corner. How are we serving our students that are new with new student orientation and getting confirmed for this semester?
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Great question. Obviously, most of that's going to be online in terms of everything we normally do when new students come in terms of the gateway classes, in terms of parent orientation, in terms of the dedication service. All that will be happening. It's just going to be done in a virtual manner. And everything you can normally do to come on campus can be taking place online as well. Much of what we're going to be talking about in terms of coming in to campus is going to happen in all the res life or in all of the dorms. So it's going to be very, very important that you stay in touch with your RDs, your RAs as you get on campus, because all of that activity that might be happening around campus normally is going to be, because of our COVID-19 protocols, they're going to be taking place pretty much in the res halls as it is. But be sure and be checking your schedule. As you get here, we receive a schedule that gives all of the different events that are going to be happening. And you want to take a look at that so you know when those are taking place and how you can check into those.
Excellent. We're off to a good start. 1 for 1. There we go. And the best news of that is you're going to be on campus, as we've said already. Almost 500 of our new students, Dr. Walker, have already confirmed enrollment. So don't forget that this is the time that you can do that right now. So we're so pleased that you're doing that. Dr. Walker, you mentioned the COVID-19 protocols. We've talked about different phrases that we've heard so much: social distancing, physical distancing, all of these things, and we want to talk about that. So in particular, there are a couple things. Let's start with masks and social distancing. How we're approaching the masking process on our campus as we get ready for the fall.
Well, masks will be required. We just feel that's the best way to go, and they're going to be required, especially if you're in situations where social distancing cannot be guaranteed. So we're going to ask you to really wear your mask. Now, you can bring any type of mask you want to bring, so you can have your own personalized mask. We will have disposable masks available for you as well in case you do not have one. But masks are going to be required. Now, there may be some exceptions to that, but we'll take that by a case-by-case basis. But we believe that masks are important. Also, we're going to be having temp checks at most of our academic buildings, as well as we're going to have temp check stations throughout the campus. 3 particular ones that we're focused on will take place in the Walker Arena, will take place at the PCSU, the Paul Kahn Student Union, and also in the School of Business. And that covers the North Campus, that covers Central Campus, that covers South Campus. And those stations will be in place for quick moving through, if you will. It'll do the job, but to avoid some bottlenecks at certain places, we've put these in place to cover the whole campus as well as in most of our academic buildings. Social distancing, Phil, is going to be in place in our classrooms. When we talk about chapel here in a little while, everywhere we can, social distancing is going to take place. And let me just say this to you, for all the details of this, because if we took all the time to get all the details of all these questions, we would be here for a long time. Go online on our website, and you'll find a Q&A document there, a COVID Q&A document that gives you the information detail-wise as to what we have. Also, we are going to be coming out soon, very soon, hopefully, with a reopen fall guide where it's going to give all the details of everything that we're going to be talking about and putting into place. So be looking for that, but also be sure to go to our website, check out that Q&A document. It will give very much the details of all the different protocols we're going to be doing in terms of COVID-19, as well as several other things concerning the campus.
Well, and we mentioned this, and Dr. Walker and I came in, I should point out, Dr. Walker, we came in with our masks, just so you know, but we're on the wide shot now so they can see us. We are a solid 10 feet away from one another, and we don't say that glibly. We're wanting you to know that we're following the protocols that we've set in place for our students and faculty and staff. So, Dr. Walker, thank you for talking about that, the social distancing, the mask that's going on, and again, the temperature checking that we're going to be doing on campus. Dr. Walker, we've had a few students and parents ask questions about, as we navigate this semester, how will we determine if Lee must go to an alternative plan? The phrase is shut down. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but how will we manage the process moving forward as we decide how we'll continue to deliver classes and experience here at Lee through the semester?
Here's the deal. It's very difficult to quantify when we need to go to an alternative plan or shut down or how it might be. Here's what we are looking at. We have acquired a great deal of quarantine space. We're going to have cases. There's just no way around that. That's going to happen. But our health clinic has working very, very hard to put in all of the protocols that are necessary for testing students should any students demonstrate symptoms. As well as should they test positive, we will be certainly getting them into quarantine spaces. If it comes to a situation where our quarantine spaces are somehow getting too full or what the case may be, then we will certainly, and if we don't feel like we can keep faculty and staff and students safe, we will certainly look to an alternative plan to possibly shut down in some way. But we'll be monitoring the situation daily. We have a COVID-19 task force that's been in place since March, since spring break, since all of this began to take place. It is meeting now. It will continue to meet all throughout this semester. As long as we have COVID-19 issues, there will be a COVID-19 task force. And that is made up of our leaders from all across this campus. There's a representative from each sector and area where COVID-19 would bring impact into this campus. That team will be looking at the data every single day. And we feel confident that should we ever get to the place, God forbid, that we have to, in essence, shut things down or maybe go to Zoom only, we feel confident we'd be able to make that decision in a very safe and prompt way.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Walker. And as we've said the whole time, we want you to stay in touch with us as we go through these questions. Again, the social media, all the options for Lee, make sure and follow all those and get your questions to us or any kind of follow-up questions that you're having about these issues. Dr. Walker, we have a unique opportunity for our students to get some service hours.
Yes.
So while we're working and managing this process of temperature checks and so forth, we have an announcement to make that students will be able to earn service hours as they serve us and help us through this semester.
Yes, this is just something we decided to do here recently. As we are looking to develop a workforce to help us with all of the different protocols we've been talking about, especially the checkpoint stations, the temp check stations, all those different things, sanitizing, all of that, cleaning up, we got to mobilize a workforce for that. And we'll be able to hire some of that, but we also are looking at students who might want to volunteer and who would want to look to get service hours. This is a great opportunity for you to do that. So if you're looking for a service hour credit, you can contact the Leonard Center and they can begin to tell you how you can go about doing that. But Phil, if we can get students who can serve in this capacity and volunteer at these different checkpoints or stations or whatever it might be, that will be very, very helpful for us as we put these things in place.
Yeah, so we've been doing service as our current students know, and our alums who may be watching, you know about the service we've been doing. Our new students, we make you do service because we value it. And there isn't a better time to do that now as we're serving our own community. And so we're thrilled with that announcement for you today. Okay, we've gotten through the protocols. We're talking about masks and social distancing and temperature checks and all of those things. But then we want to also talk about the classroom. Dr. Walker, how are we approaching the classroom? How will these policies affect it? What's our approach to the classroom and the academic experience here at Lee this semester?
Well, we firmly believe, Phil, that the best place to learn is in person, in that classroom, professor to student, and the engagement of that classroom, the engagement of students with professors. That's going to be a little bit different as we come into this fall semester, and we're going to be doing it from a hybrid perspective. Every classroom, for the most part, across this campus has been equipped with cameras and microphones to make this hybrid. A hybrid we mean by it'll be in person, social distance within the classrooms, but also Zoom capabilities. Students who have to watch by Zoom for whatever reasons. So it's going to be a different type of an experience, but we certainly are going to make this as positive as we can and as impactful as we can with the in-person, in-classroom experience. Some professors may be standing behind plexiglass just for their own sake and request, if you will, to create that social distancing and to make it feel safer in that regard. Students watching by Zoom, however, we will try our best to make it feel as in-person as possible. Yeah. But that's basically going the way it's going to be. Now, there are going to be some situations where students may need to Zoom only. Certain circumstances or situations in a student's life may require them that they have to do Zoom only, and we're going to make that available. What you need to do is you need to make that request through our provost office. But we do have those situations where students may have to do Zoom only. We hope that's more the exception, not the rule. Because we do firmly believe that in that classroom, even if it's social distance, even if you got plexiglass, even if some are wearing masks, is still the best way to really learn and develop.
Yes, sir. Hear, hear. That's who we are. That's what we do. So I think that you'll find that to be both safe and true to what we're doing. And thank you, Dr. Walker, for sharing that. So some of the larger classes, Dr. Walker, that students might have a day in the classroom and a day at Zoom as well. We might rotate for some of those that can't get social distancing. Am I right about that?
That's exactly right. Some of our larger courses, especially in our core courses, we just don't have the venues, the classrooms available by social distancing to have everybody in there together. So there may be a situation in those larger classes where there'll be a rotating type of basis. Students will come in certain times physically, and then another set for certain times physically, and while the others are watching via Zoom. So we will have those types of situations as well. Again, and that's for the safety of everyone involved. That's not the best way to do it, but given our circumstances, it is a good way, a safe way, and we think still will be an effective way.
Excellent. And so many folks, which is so great, there's so many outstanding, high-achieving students, Dr. Walker, they're saying, what about the final exam schedule? So they're already preparing now. This is months away, but you're getting ready. We have some news to announce about regarding final exam schedule for this semester as well. Yeah,
and we love those students that really want to know about the final exams. But as you know, we made the decision that come Thanksgiving break and the students leave our campus for Thanksgiving break, that we will not be bringing them back. Now, normally, in our regular fall semester, we would have a fall break, and then we'd have a Thanksgiving break, and students would come back for those final classes and those final exams, and then go for Christmas break. Well, in this situation we're in now, we've made the decision we will not have a fall break. We'll have classes during that time, and then at Thanksgiving break, students will go home and not return. And we've decided that the best way to look at doing this is to have final exams prior to Thanksgiving break. So those final 4 days of classes heading up to Thanksgiving break, finals will be built into those 4 days. The exception to that will be our senior nursing students. They will have to come back on campus if they do leave for Thanksgiving break to finish out their semester. They have certain requirements that have to be met that just cannot be done prior to Thanksgiving break. But we're looking at having all of our exams in those 4 days leading up to Thanksgiving break.
Excellent. So good news, some breaking news for you there, as we've just heard from President Walker regarding the final exam schedule. Christmas will be a little different. You have to celebrate the Christmas at home, but we're still happy that we're able to make those accommodations for you. We're in the classroom. We're talking about the classroom, masks and distancing and temperature checks as we go about the campus, but also the campus life outside the classroom, Dr. Walker. Lee is such a wonderful and unique social place that it presents some challenges for us. And at the top of that list, as so many of you have asked, is chapel. So how are we approaching chapel? How will we go through that this semester as we make that core part of the Lee experience available to our students in fall 2020?
Well, chapel is a mainstay of Lee University, and we will be having chapel. It will be different. Everything at Lee this fall is going to be different, but I can say this, it's still going to be great. We're going to do everything we can. We got people working around the clock right now to make as much of the Lee experience as we can get, because we know that is so unique to who we are and how we make a difference in students' lives. So we are working feverishly to do what we can, maintaining the safety while still trying to generate that experience. Chapel is one of those. We will have chapel. Chapel will be required. It's going to be a combination of hybrid, like we're doing our classrooms. There will be venues where students will physically be in place. Some will be live, where they're seeing the speaker live in a setting. Others will be having it streamed in. Others may have to be in place within their particular class that they had prior to chapel. They may sit right there. We're still working out all of those details. But it's a combination of live and a combination of virtual. And some have asked about how are you going to track attendance if it's required, especially if you're doing it virtual, if you're doing it Zoom. Well, we're working out that technology right now, but there will be some type of a scanning process if you're watching Zoom that you can scan in to get the credit. Why are we going to all that expense? Why are we going to all that trouble? Well, let me tell you why. We believe chapel is so core to who we are. Because here's what we're trying to do here at Lee University. We're trying to raise students up, prepare them for living responsible Christian lives in a complex world. And we believe a part of that understanding of who we are as followers of Jesus Christ happens in that chapel service. You know, it's interesting, Phil. I've been reading a book entitled The Splendid and the Vile, written by Eric Larson. And it's a book about when Winston Churchill became the prime minister right at the time that Germany was declaring war on England in World War II. And all that Churchill had to go through as a leader in protecting his country. And it's interesting, in there it talks about how even when Germany was bombing London and bombing England, having all the bombing raids, they still maintained tea time.
Wow.
They would still have their tea time. And it's interesting, the reason they did is because it was so central to who they were. And it told them, this is who we are as Brits. It centered them. It gave them a sense of connecting that no matter what, we are still going to be the people of England. And tea time was so vital to that. I mean, planes would be flying over, air raid signals would be going off, but they're still having tea. To Lee University, chapel is tea time. It's tea time, where we take twice a week, right at that heart of the day, we all settle in and we get recentered on who and why we are. And if that means we're going to be wearing masks while we sing, that means we're going to be sitting in a classroom watching it live stream, or maybe in a dorm room, whatever it may be, it's critical to who we are. And so we're going to move forward with that and continue to do what we do best and to experience what we know we need to experience here at Lee.
I'm ready now. Let's go. Let's crank it up. Because in March, when we shut it down and went to Zoom rather, we had so much wonderful activity, Dr. Walker, with the virtual chapels. And so we're going to find a way to deliver that. And I'm so glad to hear that and hear the heart of Dr. Walker as he shares that. Dr. Walker, we got to feed students. We're going to feed them. You got to eat. You got to sleep. Got to go to class. You got to have some fun. And we got to worship. So that's what we're talking about today. But in particular, dining services are still going to be operational on campus through Sodexo.
Yes, again, like everything else, it'll be according to the COVID-19 protocols. And of course, all this that we do in terms of those protocols are based on the CDC guidelines, the Tennessee health guidelines. That's basically what we look at. So yes, there'll be social distancing in the dining halls, masks in the dining halls. The Sodexo personnel, they'll be the ones that'll be serving the food to the students. Now, if students choose to eat in the dining hall, which will be social distance, obviously they would take the masks off, but they will also be able to take the food, grab and go. Also, all the other different eating establishments on campus also will be up and running, again, based on all the social distancing protocols. We will feed you, moms and dads, we will feed your students.
And we're glad about that. I mean, I like to eat too, and especially because the retail options, all that'll be fully operational on campus. I think the answer is going to be similar, Dr. Walker, but even events on campus as we approach kind of the things that we have throughout the course of the year. Students ask about things, Greek clubs and dorm wars and those kind of things. What's our approach to events on campus that make up the social fabric of Lee?
Well, it kind of sounds like a broken record, but anything we can do that's going to be within the protocols and the guidelines, we're going to allow to take place. And whatever clubs plan, again, that'll have to be within those protocols. Whatever other experiences take place. We believe in the Lee experience, and we understand how important it is to our students, how important it is to this campus. And as long as we can keep students safe, we are going to allow those things to take place. If we feel like whatever the event is that is being planned is not going to be within those protocols, then no, we're probably not going to allow that to take place. But we're going to do everything we can between in-person and virtual to keep the Lee experience alive.
Excellent. In the classroom, outside the classroom, eating, all of that we've covered. And I've had a very specific question. A couple students, Dr. Walker, asked about the campus ride. Is it going to be up and running? Can I still catch a ride on campus ride? And we have an answer for that.
Yeah, campus ride will be riding. They'll be going. they'll be on the move. Again, with the protocols in place, there'll be the social distancing on the buses. They'll masks required, obviously. And if I understand correctly from the drivers, there will be plexiglass installed. So yes, campus ride will be going, but with the protocols in place.
Excellent. An overarching theme or an idea that we want to communicate to you and Dr. Walker wants to communicate to you flows from our core values. One of our core values here at Lee, Dr. Walker, and that is responsible citizenship. And so we want to talk to our Lee family about the personal responsibility that's going to take this semester to be successful.
Listen, we can do everything on campus here. We can put all of the protocols in place. We can put all the checkpoints, the temp check stations, the mask requirements, the social distancing requirements, all of those systems in place. But what it boils down to is each one of us has to take the personal responsibility to follow through, to do our part. The responsible citizenship, as Phil was just talking about, which means this. You may be coming here and you may not feel like the risks are as great as others may think they are. You may not feel like wearing the mask is what should be happening, or you don't think it should be as done as much and whatever, and that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. However, we are coming on here with other people. It isn't just about me as an individual, it's about the common good, it's about the community. It's about doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. So yeah, you may be comfortable with not wearing the mask, but you may be with folks that aren't comfortable with that. So to defer to my brother or my sister, I'm going to wear the mask. I'm going to social distance. I'm going to go get my temp checked. I'm going to take the self-screening app and fill it out every day as it's supposed to be done. I am going to do my part to ensure the safety of those around me. That's responsible citizenship. So this is a great opportunity for every student that comes on this campus, every faculty person, every employee, every visitor that comes. Hey, I'm a part of a community. This is just about me. So I'm going to take the personal responsibility to do my part to ensure the safety of those around me. And if we'll all do that, we're going to thrive through this time. But if we come here and just kind of do our own thing, we're going to have some challenges along the way. So I encourage you, please, I admonish you come prepared to do your part to keep the campus safe.
And what a great community, great campus we have. And so thank you, Dr. Walker, for sharing that. We put out the question to Instagram and said to our students, what would you like for Dr. Walker to answer in his first Q&A? So we've got a couple personal questions. I'm going to ask you about these. I think a couple fun ones, some serious, but some longer kind of vision things. First, this is a big one. What are your goals, President Walker, as president?
Wow. We could sit here all day doing that. I think the first and foremost, Phil, is the goal of getting through COVID-19 and not just surviving it, but thriving in it. I think the great challenge that Lee has, and to say that we're facing a challenge is the understatement of the century. I get that. And there's a lot of different challenges, but I think the primary challenge, Phil, would be we want to be able to manage the crisis, at the same time advance the mission.
Yeah.
We've got to be very, very careful that the mission or the managing of the crisis doesn't become our mission. Now that doesn't mean we just neglect managing the crisis. I think we've made it very, very clear. We've done just the opposite. We have been very prudent and very diligent in managing this crisis and creating the safety that we can create. But there's a primary reason we're doing that. We want everyone to be safe, but at the same time, in that process, it's about advancing our mission. As we talked about in the classroom, we believe for students to really learn well, it's got to be in person, but that's a part of advancing that mission. I think when COVID-19 finally settles down and we don't have to social distance anymore and we don't have to do all these protocols and we can kind of come back to some normalcy in terms of being together, the symbol, the universal symbol for the whole COVID-19 issue is going to be the mask. I mean, as soon as you see it, you know what it represents. But if you look at the mask, the mask, this is managing the crisis. Well, we don't cover our eyes.
Right.
The eyes are still looking forward. We're still advancing the mission. And I think that's my primary goal. I think it's the primary goal of our cabinet, of everyone on the campus. While we are managing this crisis, which we want to do with all due diligence, at the same time, we want to advance the mission, as I said a moment ago, and that is to prepare our students for responsible Christian living in a complex world. And boy, is it getting more and more complex. The need for Lee students in this world and environment today is greater than ever because we believe Lee grads have the greatest influence on the planet. And so we want to see more and more Lee students getting placed in this complex world. That's why we want to keep moving forward as in person as possible. So I think my great goal here, Phil, is so that when we come out of COVID-19, not only have we been able to be as safe as possible, but we also have discovered new systems, new ways of teaching, new ways of reaching students, new ways of recruiting. We've found new ideas of how to better Lee University to continue in what God has called us to do. So that's really my first and foremost goal at this point as president.
Wonderful. Well, to that end, to manage the crisis and reach the mission, what's your leadership style, Dr. Walker? Multiple students ask that. They want to know how will you get those things accomplished and how do you approach it?
Through absolute tyranny and dictatorship. Not. If I could sum up my leadership style, I'm a team leader. I believe in team. I believe in helping the right people get on the bus and get in the right seats on the bus, and together as a team, we drive that bus to where it is we need to be going. I'm a strategic thinker. I love to work through problems and processes and get us to where we're going in putting the pieces together. There's a old program, and I know I'm talking to a bunch of students who may not be familiar, called the A-Team. It was on television years ago, but there was a movie that came out. Bradley Cooper was in it. Liam Neeson was in it. And the lead character, one of the lead characters is Hannibal Smith, and he's like He's like the leader of this mission force that goes out and do all these different things. And when they succeed at a mission, one of his great lines, Hannibal Smith, is, "I love it when a plan comes together." And that's me. I love it when a team of people come together, see a direction, go for it, and we're able to accomplish it together. And I also believe in leadership development. I want to raise the bar in everybody's influence in everybody's professional lives and in bettering their skills and their direction. So I think those bode well for serving in this role and who we are as Lee University. But that's basically my style. I like being with people. I like being with people, I do.
Excellent, wonderful. Well, we're coming to our end of our time together. The time has flown by, at least from our perspective. Hope you've enjoyed and got all those questions answered. But a couple quick hitters, a couple personal ones that
right.
I think maybe we can get to is, are you going to continue the tradition of the commissioning Bibles?
Yes.
That's wonderful. And what a great tradition it is. So we're glad you're going to be doing that.
Absolutely.
Another student asked, Dr. Walker, what is your favorite scripture and why?
Wow. Man, there's a bunch. Well, John 3:16, "For God so loved the world, He gave His one and only Son, whoever believes in Him will not perish but have everlasting life." That's the gospel. That's the essence. It tells the whole story. That's one of my favorite. I guess the one that I really probably quote a lot and kind of is my purpose statement is Colossians 3:17. "Whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to God the Father through Him." The why behind that is because everything I do and we do is word or deed. You can say, well, what about thinking? Well, I think my words and my deeds reflect that thinking. And if I do that with the desire to do it in the name of the Lord Jesus, the name, it means in the character, in the personhood of who Jesus Christ is, giving thanks to God the Father. I believe in having an attitude of gratitude. I believe in being a person of thanksgiving. I think if that can be my life purpose daily, then I'm going to have far more positive influence and impact on people's lives than not.
Excellent. Dr. Walker, can students can they send you fan mail?
You can send me all the fan mail you want to send. Now, if you've got criticism, Phil Cook. It's pcook at leeuniversity.edu. Absolutely. You send me all the mail, good, bad, or indifferent, you want to send, and I'll try to get back to you as promptly as I can. I love to hear from you.
And students, so many of your questions. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Remember, student feedback at leeuniversity.edu, questions through the social media as well. Dr. Walker, as we close up, maybe a couple final thoughts, and also just remindings about the reopening guide that will be coming out, the Q&A on the website as we close up our time here together.
Yes, again, as Phil said, take a look at that Q&A on the website and be looking for this opening guide as it comes out. We're just looking forward to you being here. As I said at the opening of this, Lee University, we exist because of you. That's what we're here for. We fully embrace our liberal arts distinctive, but we feel called to a higher call, and that is to engage our students in the Christ-centered transformation journey of integrating faith and vocation and values. We are truly Christ-centered. We want our students to know who He is. We don't ram it down anybody's throats, but we want you to know that you are made in the image of God. You are made for His purposes, and He has a distinct plan and purpose in your life to make a difference in this world. That's why we're going to all these great lengths to open this place up for you. Come ready to learn, come ready to engage. It's going to be different at Lee University this fall, but it is still going to be great.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Walker, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon back here through all the social media channels and our website. Thanks for joining us.